Hello my queens, and welcome to another training video. And as per usual, I will be doing a voiceover to share with you my top tips for my full body training session that you will see. And let's just jump straight into the first exercise, which is a dumbbell RDL. I love this exercise. It is such an amazing exercise, not only to build your glute and hamstring strength and get gains, but it's such a great exercise because it builds your entire posterior chain, which is all of the muscles at your back, because your lats, your upper back must be engaged to not allow your shoulders to come forward and to keep that neutral spine from your head to your hips. And a few tips as usual, which I will share, is that before I do share that, it's important to note that I am unloading the dumbbell around my knee height, as you could see. The most common mistake that I see people make, well, it's not really a mistake, but they unrack it off the floor. That is the energy that you could put towards the actual lift itself. So when you are picking up any heavy dumbbell, whether you are doing an RDL, a goblet squat, or walking lunges, it is ideal to, well, I suggest for you to unrack it from around your knee height, as you could see there. This way you're saving the energy for the actual working set. That is a good tip for you to use for next time. Other tips here is just the basic cues that you want to engage your lats, keep your chest up, and you're hinging at the hips, keeping your dumbbell close to your body. Another mistake that I see is that people often think when they do RDLs, they're coming down with their hands. Your hands, it's not really your hands, but your lats are engaged, and once that's engaged, your core's engaged, the movement comes through the hip hinge. So you're hinging at the hips, soft at the knees to really feel your glutes and hamstrings. Another thing to keep in mind is to make sure that your neck is in line with your spine. Often I see people tend to look up. That will create an arch on your neck, which is nothing wrong with it, but we just want to practice good form from the head all the way to your hips to allow a nice hip hinge back, optimally targeting your glutes and your hamstrings. And again, we rack it back to the knee height, as you could see here. Moving on to the second exercise, which is one favorite and also a staple, are dumbbell walking lunges. With the dumbbell walking lunges, it is an incredibly challenging exercise, but very worth it because there's so many benefits to walking lunges. Firstly, yes, we want to develop lower body gains, glutes, hamstrings, development gains, also strength, but it is also a highly functional exercise because that is what we do on a day-to-day basis. We walk, so walking lunges is functional. Another amazing thing with lunges is that you become unbalanced as soon as you lift off from the back foot. As you could see, I'm lifting off. Once I lift off, you become unbalanced. So your core must be engaged to make sure that you are balanced and you are stable. So walking lunges or any kind of lunges, split squat variations, are amazing in building core strength, stability, and balance. They are things that is needed, especially for everyone. Here are some tips. So do not allow your shoulders to come forward. We want to keep that chest up, and you ideally want to push off the front foot as you come up, and ideally 90 degrees at the front knee and the back knee. And some common mistakes that I see is that, people tend to lift off the heels as they push through. You want to keep that whole foot planted and just keeping in mind the cues of not allowing your knees to cave inwards. We want your knees to be in line with your big toe. So they are just some tips to keep in mind, making sure that you are intentional and taking your time through each rep. Here I am only doing 2 sets, 10 walks forward and 10 walks back. So essentially that is 40 strides, and it is incredibly challenging, but definitely a staple that I believe everyone should have in their lower body session. Moving on to the next exercise, which is leg press. And here again, we want to make sure that your hips, your whole entire back should be seated all the way at the bottom. Often when we go a little bit too heavy, your bottom tends to lift off. So we want to make sure the bottom is down. I will share some tips where you'll see shortly. And by holding onto the handles and pushing your hips down, you can create that stability and more engagement through your glutes. In regards to the feet positioning, there's no right or wrong because every leg press machine will be different. The way the leg press are different. So find your comfortable stance position. A little bit higher up, you feel it more through your glutes and your hamstrings. If you push your feet a little bit downwards, then perhaps you feel it more in your quads. The middle position is obviously ideal, but there's no right or wrong. We want to make sure that you are feeling it that you are in a comfortable position, and that the feet is planted, both your feet is planted on the plate the entire time through. And here are just some tips. We try not to lock it out at the top. We want to keep your knees soft, especially if you're going heavy. And then also at the same time, if you keep your knees soft at the top, then you are also keeping your quads and glutes under constant engagement the entire time through. So I am doing 2 sets. Altogether, it is 3 sets. You may see in this video, I have just cut to the 3rd set here. So again, you want to make sure that your bottom is always seated at the bottom, And as I mentioned, holding your handles on. I'm not holding it here, but you can hold it you could hold onto the handles for more stability. And yeah, this is just, I would say that by this set, I am pretty knackered from my walking lunges. They are incredibly challenging. And again, when it comes to foot placement, find your comfortable stance position. All right, so the 4th exercise here. So by this time, it is the 4th, because I'm doing a full body workout. This is the 4th lower body session. It is the typical leg extension, where normally with the leg extension, it isolates your quads. So when you work on isolation exercises, for example, your quads here in this leg extension machine or a hip thrust, then generally you can go for higher reps towards the end. And this is why there's 15 to 20 reps here. I'm only doing 2 sets because this is a full body workout. And also, it is a fixed machine as well. So you're quite fixed in this position. So you can afford to go a little more in the rep ranges here. Again, 2 sets, not really. This is my final exercise for the lower body. When it comes to full body, obviously I would pick 4 lower body exercises. And then what you will see next is my 4 upper body sessions. I usually don't do full body exercises, but they are great if you are time poor or if you're just training 3 days a week, where you just want to perhaps get all your sessions, or you don't have time to work on all muscle groups. So full body are great exercises for that. There's no right or wrong. It really depends. I think in this day, I didn't get all my sessions in, so I just crammed everything together to do a full body. All right, so this is the first upper body exercise, which is the T-bar row. I absolutely love this exercise. Any exercises with a pad, for example, here, it really targets the upper back. So if you think fixed machines, it's not just for beginners, but fixed machines are also for anyone of any level. Fixed machines usually take away your internal stabilizer. So obviously here I'm rested on the pad, where the whole focus is just, obviously you should still engage your core and practice good mind to muscle, but here it is solely optimally targeting my upper back muscles. I have only been doing 3 sets here. And again, some tips to help you is to push your stomach and hips into the pad, and you want to have a strong squeeze, especially on your way up. So strong squeeze at the top. You don't want to go too heavy that you are just moving a heavy weight through space. You want to make sure that you are still feeling the engagement through your upper back. This is the most important. And again, I just want to say and preface out there that all of these tips that I'm giving to you is just what has worked for me over the past 8 years of training. This is my 3rd set here. So everything that I share, please know that there's no right or wrong when it comes to training. It just depends on what your training goal is. And I'm just sharing with you what I have been doing and what works for me over the years. All right, the next upper body exercise is a good old dumbbell shoulder press. We are working on pressing movement here. This works on shoulders, obviously, and anything with dumbbell as well. Compared to a barbell, you just get more range of motion, and you need more of your internal stabilize, so your core, to be able to push those weights up. They are important because we need to be working on your shoulders at all range of motions. So pulling, pushing, pushing down, pushing up, because we want to build strength surrounding your shoulder joint, because your shoulder joint is the most it's the least stable, because we could move your shoulder joints in all range of motions. So making sure that you are training at all angles and building strength for your shoulder joint. And ladies, don't forget to train your upper body. It's important because not only are you building strength in your upper body, but it has a huge carryover to your lower body lifts. Just something to keep in mind. A good tip here that I've shared with you is that as you press up, you want to squeeze your glutes and keep your core engaged. Often when the weight gets a little bit challenging, when you just squeeze your glutes, keep it seated at the bottom and engage your core hard, it will give you a lot more stability to push the dumbbells up. And again, usually 8 to 10 reps here. And that's the pressing exercise. All right, so the 3rd exercise is the cable high to low lat pull down. I absolutely love this exercise because this targets your lats optimally as well as your upper back, as you could see. So here with the cable pull, it's just that range of motion. You want to also engage keep the constant engagement. So this is just what it looks like on the other side. And again, I have not put all of my sets here. This is just, I think here, some exercises that you see in this video, I've only showed like one or two sets. But again, here, keeping that constant tension, anything with cable is amazing, because even on the way out, you want to control it out. So your whole lats, your upper back, shoulders are keeping in tension with any cable exercises. So this one, high to low, because you are working in a diagonal position. All right, the next exercise is just your typical lateral raises, and by this time it is my 7th or 8th exercise, I believe. So again, as I mentioned earlier, the lateral raises isolates your shoulders and higher rep range. Any exercise that you do isolation, so you're working on a single muscle, then generally I would go for a higher rep range. And it's also with your lateral raises, for me, and I'm sure for everyone, because shoulders are such a smaller muscle group, you don't need to go too heavy. And the same with my next exercise that I'm showing you here is the tricep rope pull down, which is such an underrated exercise. This tricep push down is such, I'm going to repeat myself, is an underrated exercise because your triceps are actually 3 muscle groups. and they have a huge carryover to any posterior chain exercises. For example, your deadlifts strong. I realized that when you work on these little accessory exercises, such as, you know, also your triceps, it's just the small little not so significant muscle groups can play a huge difference to your deadlifts, your RDLs, which are both great exercises to build glute and glutes for your glutes, as most ladies want. And this is my third set, and I just want to show you on the side of what it looks like. Ideally, you want to have your shoulders and your elbows in sort of in a fixed position, and you're extending at the elbow and squeezing your shoulder, your triceps at the bottom as your elbows lock out here. So ladies, make sure you do your triceps. And this is basically my last exercise. The whole workout is in the description, so please check it out. And please do let me know if you have any questions, and if you'd like to see more of these videos, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.